What up, my dog man lovers and my supernatural lovers? This is your boy, Fenrir Moon. Now check this out. This actually happened to me and many others in the early 90s. It was a news station that did a broadcast, and it was interviewing a Caucasian male with short black hair with a black jacket. He could fly. I'm not playing. I'm not talking about CGI, and I'm not talking about you put him on a screen and you know how they do like when they do with Superman, they show you how they put him on the screen and all that stuff. No, I'm not talking about none of that crap. I'm talking about real life flying. They was recording it. We was all seeing it. And at that moment, I was like, oh snap, we can fly? Because all we knew that we couldn't do nothing like that. That's what been told to everyone. But we sitting there witnessing it. Everybody like, oh snap, we can fly? So that's to open up our minds and start understanding that we could do more than that what we was told that we can do. And then the very next day, they came out and said all of that. A big story came out saying it was all fake. But one thing that I never seen that guy again. You know how they do when somebody do some fraud or do something bad to trick the mass of people? They wait a few years later, then they have an interview with the person, and then they talk to the person and trying to figure out why they did that. You know what I'm saying? They do it all the time. But we never seen that guy again. Never had an interview. Never talked about flying again on the news. You see what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I never saw that news station again. I never seen it again. And I never seen that female reporter again. And I never seen the dude again. Now that is very suspicious. You see what I'm saying? And I want to say this too. The reason why I believe that we can fly and we can do all these different abilities that we see in these comic books, because I have witnessed and saw many people with abilities on the internet. And I guarantee we didn't know anything about AI. AI wasn't big back then. I'm talking about in the early 2000s. I done seen a woman in CCTV in China actually use flash powers. I'm not playing. I'm telling the truth. It was over there in China. You know how they be an old gentleman was like, you know how they be on a bike, but they have like a big cart pulling. They be pulling the cart behind them. He about to go into a road. A car about to hit him. This person was walking. All of a sudden, you saw the little flash. You know how like when flash run, you see that lightning? It was just like that, but it was CCTV. So you know it wasn't no special effects and none of that was going on in that. And I'm like, what? So you mean we can run like the Flash, but they telling us that we can't do nothing like that? So that started making me open my mind even more what's happening. That's the stuff that I'm seeing. And then and what else? Saw a girl in China, another CCTV. She was using telekinesis. A box is about to fall onto a little girl. She did like this, and the box flew away. Didn't even hit the little girl. I was like, what? That's telekinesis? We can do that. See, if you're actually thinking about what is happening, you can tell like, okay, so they know this stuff is this. So the things in the comic books and the movies are actually real with these different abilities and these different beings and things. Because then you start thinking about it, you start wondering in your head, that got to be true, because how would they be able to know all of this? Because in order for you to think a certain way to think of certain things, one thing has to happen. You had to been exposed to that. Meaning that you saw it physically, or someone told you about their story, or they told you about someone else's story. But it had really happened in order for them to able to put it on paper and actually know what it is and know what the weaknesses are. Come on, man. I'm starting to understand all of this. All of these fantasy, these supernatural shows and stuff. A lot of this stuff is actually based in real life things, because more and more I do my supernatural research online, I'm starting to discover more of these things do exist, and they just put it in movies to trick us to think and believe that these animals, creatures, supernatural beings doesn't exist. That's the reason why a lot of these dogman stories, people being in such a panic mode, be scared. A lot of those dogmen might not be. As far as I know, I never heard a dogman physically being aggressively towards people like that heavily. Now, I have heard rare incidents that it did happen, but I'm guessing since it's more that it doesn't happen and it did happen, I'm guessing they did something to the dog man. Because some of the stories that I report to you guys, like the one of them was that the lumberjacks, they cut down the woods, and next thing they see the dog man looking at them. Yeah, that's because it's probably their home that you are destroying. You see what I'm saying? So if they come in your house destroying your home, you're gonna stand there like, what are you doing, right? So that's what I'm saying. But how come we get a lot of these sightings, but yet they keep trying to tell it's fake? Just like with the UFOs. How are we seeing a lot of these UFOs and they saying it's fake? See, I know the UFOs is real because I literally see UFOs every single day. They're in the sky every single day. All of them is not planes. And there's a lot of people saying it because a lot of people is posting it. But why does he keep trying to tell us that it wasn't real? But then Obama came out later and said that aliens does exist. That means that all the things that they're telling that doesn't exist really does exist. And now you got to ask yourself, that's why I'm asking myself, why is they keeping us from advancing? Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Leave it down below. We love you guys. We are common.